Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, welcome to the webinar. We are going to get started in about 2 or 3 minutes as I see people are still jumping in. So now would be a great time if you got to run, fill up that coffee, go to the bathroom, what have you. We will get started in about 3 to 4 minutes. So yeah, go and handle that, and don't worry if you get in back a little late. We will be recording everything. Okay, guys, let's get started with the webinar. Before we hop in, could somebody type into the chat and just say yes if you can see the screen? It should say social media for 2018. And there should be a little questions or chat box on the GoToWebinar. And we're just going to do a sound check as well. I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. If you guys can hear me okay, can someone say in the chat just if it's coming through clearly? Awesome, great, thank you. Thank you for those that responded. Let's get into the content. So today we're going to be talking about social media for 2018, particularly when it comes to individual realtors and how you guys can leverage social. I want to go through a little bit of some of the stuff that you might have heard as tips or when you're reading Inman, etc., and then what you can actually do and some practical advice. This is being recorded, so if you have to pop out at any time, do not worry. We will be syndicating it, putting it out at the end to everyone. I also at the end will stay around and answer questions for as long as you have them. Sometimes that's at 20 minutes, sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. So as long as you have questions at the end, I will stick around to answer them. But with that, let's hop into this webinar. So you guys get to know me. My name is Jordan Shelton. I have a column on Inman News. I write for Inc. Magazine on marketing, leadership. I run an advertising agency. I speak around the country to realtors, helping educate them around social media. I'm really excited to come on and work with you guys at Zach Shore for the next couple of webinars and really break down some of the best practices that you guys can take to make sure that you're able to sell more in 2018 on LBI. So what are we going to go over in this webinar? We're going to quickly look at platforms you should be on, how to find your audience, and then actually how to create things that your audience wants to see, how to get that in front of them. And then we're going to hop into social media from the paid aspect. Should you be paying for ads? And then at the very end, we're going to look at how to measure social media success for next year. If you have questions throughout this, feel free to type those in and we will answer them at the end as well. So This is something in this quote here. We don't have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it. I think this really resonates with the real estate industry as a whole. Everyone who's in this webinar has, social media accounts. And a lot of times, these social media accounts can get put to the back burner, or we can feel like, we're just posting and nobody's actually seeing our content or engaging. Uh, if you feel like, and guys, I'm going to do this throughout, I'm going to ask questions, but if you feel like, you're posting on social media and you're just not really getting any traction, you're continually seeing, 15 people reach, no clicks. Can you just type yes into the chat if you feel like you've been posting and posting and posting and you haven't really seen anything pick up, whether that's on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you post? Okay, so a couple of you guys are posting saying, yeah, that's the case, and you're not. That's not unique to you. That's every industry. So one of the things, and the way I want to look at social media before we hop into the platforms and everything, is reshaping the way we think about social media to actually make it social. We need to look at how we can create conversations with people and not just have a one-way communication stream. If all we're doing is posting on social media, we're not having a conversation, we're not being social. We actually have to go and engage with other people on social media, which I'm going to get into throughout this presentation. And I'll actually do a live example of how to do that near the end. But that's just one thing as we get into this, I really want to frame and say, we need to make social media social. So what platform should you be on? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. I mean, it feels like every week there's a new platform and you're being told by some expert that you should, go on Snapchat because that's where you're going to make a difference. And this gets confusing. This becomes really, really confusing messaging. It's a lot to take in and it feels like a lot to keep up with, especially if you're one person. Well, I want to break it down for you guys. You're going to go to, if you've been to a conference before, you're going to hear some expert who's a Snapchat guru or anyone who's saying, has weird titles like that. And they're going to say, you need to be on Snapchat. If you're not there, your business is going to die, or if you're not on Facebook, and the list goes on. But really, it depends. It depends who you are. It depends who your past clients are. It depends what your future clients look like. And what I mean by that is, if you're in the 45 to 65-year-old age demographic and you're selling to people who are looking at getting a second home in LBI, and let's say they're from upstate New York or Connecticut, or they're from another spot in Jersey, okay, how do you relate to that person, and where does that person hang out? Where are they online? Are they going to be on Snapchat? Probably not. Are they going to be on Instagram? Hard, maybe. I guarantee they're going to be on Facebook. So when we look at what I'll call the buyer demographic, that is the 45 to 65-year-old demographic, they are the fastest growing demographic on Facebook. So all of these other platforms, Instagram, Snapchat, yes, LinkedIn, of course, I want us to think about this. With those platforms, we have to know what's going on. If we think about it like a sport, it's okay to be in the stands, watch what's going on. But when it comes to Facebook particularly, you need to be on the field and you need to be playing. So Facebook is the one where we're going to say that that's an absolute must. It's still the best bang for your buck, everything. Then next, I would say on the flip side, if you're a millennial agent and you're looking at connecting with other millennials, maybe you want to influence, you're going to use that network to influence your friends' parents, etc., to help bring them into, LBI. Okay, great. Now your connection might be on Instagram, right? And that's going to be something where you can go and build exposure for yourself. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and if you're feeling like there's a million platforms, start with Facebook. Then I would look at expanding into Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. I also, when we go back to this right here, this platform, one of the things that's really important to do is when you're on all of these platforms is to create a different message for all of these platforms. If we think about social media like this, Facebook is a sit down restaurant. Okay, you go there, the conversation's happening, it's moving a little slower. Uh, you're dressed okay. Twitter is like a dance floor. Twitter, the song is changing every 2 minutes. People are dancing. There's a lot going on. You have to keep up. Okay. LinkedIn is the bank down the road. So you're not going to go dancing into the bank down the road, right? You're going to show up with a little bit more of a professional look. Say you're going to get qualified for a mortgage, or you're going to take out a loan, or you're looking at investment strategy. You're not going to be in there dancing. You're also not going to be eating dinner. So if these three things are all three different situations and three different platforms, what I'm trying to say is it would never make sense to put the same message on all three platforms. So I really want us to look at crafting messages that are specific to each platform. When we look at this from the outset and we're creating our strategy as we get into 2018, guys, I know right now, like type in yes in the chat if your phone is out on the desk while you're looking at this webinar, or if you've picked up your phone and scrolled through something else while listening to me talk. Right? Everyone has. You're not unique to this. This is every person. This is your next client. Your next client is on their phone today. Your next client, when they're at home and a commercial comes on TV, or they're waiting for, at lunch, they're waiting for their meal to heat up in the microwave, they are checking their phone. This is where we're transitioning to. We have more mobile phones on the planet than we do toothbrushes. That is insane. But with that stat, we have to know that, okay, for us, we need to craft our strategy with a mobile first mentality and then work backwards from there. A lot of the stuff that we can create on mobile, we can then use and will show up well on desktop. But I really want us to be thinking about mobile and how we can use the platform and all of the tools that your cell phone right there on the table or in your pocket provides you. I mean, the biggest one being obviously you can record video. You can be walking through a home. You can be talking about a beautiful living room that maybe opens up, has a patio with a beach view. You can be talking about that while making a video. And if you learn, a couple quick little editing tips on iMovie, if you're on the iPhone, I'm sure Google has a video editing software as well. You can make a pretty cool listing video right there to put on your social media. Or you could be talking into the camera, talking about how much you love a particular area. Maybe you're in Point Pleasant Beach and you're like, these are the 5 things I love about Point Pleasant Beach, but you're doing it with a mobile first mentality. Next, this comes down to the point I was saying earlier. Don't get distracted by everyone telling you need to be on everything. If you can do one platform well next year, you're going to be better off than doing 8 of them mediocre. So if you're just getting started in social and you're looking at it, I would say just own Facebook. Figure out a way to own your Facebook. And if you're a little bit more advanced and you have that following that's kind of growing, you're comfortable on video, you're doing all of that, okay, great. Then look to expand. Let's look at adding some new media and new platforms to your marketing mix. But really, next year, what's going to happen, guys, there's going to be a million stories from Inman about all these video apps. You're going to start hearing about voice, like the Alexa, and there's going to be some article about how people will be scheduling open houses through a voice command. Don't listen to that. That's all shiny nonsense right now. Let's just do one thing and let's do it well. So how does it work? How do you create content? And how do you create content that sticks? One of the problems we see nationwide with realtors is all they do is post listings, or they post content that is look at me content. And what look at me content would be is things like you got an award, or you just closed, or you just made somebody's day, right? It's very self-serving content. This isn't what people want to see. The everyday person. The everyday person is going to buy a home once to every 5 to 7 years. They're going to purchase a home. Obviously, second home, vacation home, stuff at the shore. It's going to be a little bit different of a target market, but they still don't want to necessarily see homes all the time, listings all the time. That doesn't mean it's not part of your marketing, but I want to make what we're going to call brand content and question answering content about 60% of the content you put out. And this really starts with finding out what this content is, really starts with defining your audience. Who is your audience? Do not say everyone, because it is not everyone. Your audience should be finite. You should know exactly what you're going after. Say, I'm going after people who make between $250,000 to $500,000 a year, who live in Manhattan and have just had their kids leave college and are looking for a vacation home. Or maybe they have, 2 to 3 children in their teens. You need to break that down to the exact of what you're going after. Maybe you're going after young people who are successful in finance. Like, break it down so exact, because once you do that, you can find out what questions those people may have, right? So someone who is going and has a family and is going to buy a house on the shore, they might want to know, like, what activities there are for kids to do. Or if they want to come for something like a New Year's Eve or 4th of July, what are family-friendly activities for 4th of July? Okay, great. That's a good piece of content for us to put out, because that answers a question that your audience may have, right? Same thing if you are targeting young couples. You might say, here's the best thing to do as a young couple in LBI, and you go from there. Use your expertise. Use your expertise to answer those questions. But we have to look at it as, how can we answer those? And this is that type of content we put out. It's not look at me content. It's how can I help you content. And when we make that shift, that's when we start to see our social media profiles really expand. Then lastly, we need to market that content. I always say, making the content is really half the battle. You should spend just as much time marketing content as you do making it. It'd be similar to if Enzo Ferrari made his first Ferrari and then never took it out of the garage and just left it there. That's what's happening with a lot of people and their content. We got to take it out. We got to show it off. We got to get it in front of people. We got to talk with people. And I'm going to show you guys how to do some of that. We're going to use different media types on social media. So here is a lady, Jessica Edwards, and she's out of South Carolina, and she has done an absolutely fantastic job at marketing. One of the beautiful things about real estate is you can go and find something from somebody across the country or in a different state who's doing something really cool, and you can take little bits and pieces and put it into your marketing. So I would really recommend checking out her content. But what she does is she leverages different video types. She'll do a video on a listing that she's got. She's got, great, come check it out. But then she'll also on the flip side of that make a video on, here are 5 tips for first-time home sellers, and it's just her in her car. It's nothing special. She just talks before she goes to drive. These are all types of things you can do right from your phone, and you can upload right to Facebook. You can upload right to YouTube. One of these things that people will say all the time about this is, well, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? What's the ROI? I can't tell you that, but I can tell you that she has sold more homes because of this content. That one of those 3,300 people that's seen her content, I guarantee referred a sale to her, and probably multiple, because this is what brand exposure is, right? We don't know that exact moment that if we look at it with other companies, what's that exact moment that made you choose Coca-Cola over Pepsi, or vice versa? Why do you like one over the other, right? It's because they've been hitting you with messaging over and over and over again since you were 10 that has somehow convinced you that, Coca-Cola is better than Pepsi, or at least for me when I go into a 7-Eleven and I'm thirsty. they're not only blasting photos of Coca-Cola at me. They're making content which is very friendly. They're doing all these things. So then the next time I'm in the 7-Eleven, I may purchase a Coca-Cola. It's the exact same thing with real estate. If you can be nice, friendly with people, answer their questions that they have, the next time when they're looking to purchase, that's when we have the chance to sell them and to become their agent. We do it through creating value, guys, right? This is something, if we can create content that creates value, we're off to the races. This is stuff that you can promote. Stuff that's not super salesy, has your logo on it, can get people in to say, hey, look, here are the 7 best restaurants in New Jersey. Here are the 8 family-friendly activities to do on July 4th weekend. Here are the best spots to retire. Here are 5 hidden gems in the community. These are all types of content and pieces of content that are interesting and create value for potential buyers. Because when we look at second home buyers, right, we're probably competing at LBI. People want to go to the shore, great, but you're competing against other markets too. Whether it's down the East Coast, coming out west, people who have the financial resources to make this purchase, they're going to be looking at other markets as well. So how do we create value and answer some of the questions they may have about LBI? That's what we have to be thinking about. Next, this comes up all the time. Should we do Facebook ads, and should we do paid social media? And the answer is yes, you should. All advertising costs money. It's either going to cost you time or money. But the results, if you really want results, think about using paid social media as like if you put a snowball at the top of the hill and you make it start rolling down the hill and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what paid can do. A little $10, $15, payment on a post can actually drive a lot of traffic and a lot of exposure your way. So use it to promote listings, use it to promote exposure for yourself, and really you're going to see it take off. So what I want to, or actually right now, if you guys have used any paid social media before, can you just type, can you just say yes into the questions for me if you've went and played with boosts or whatever, because I'd like to show you guys a live example of how to do this. But I just want to get a sense of the audience who has used it before, so I know kind of how, where to take this example. Okay, so a couple people have used it. Well, what I'm going to show you guys quickly is how to boost a piece of content. So what you can do, and I have a personal page similar to how you guys would have a personal page. So what we would do, I would look, and I think I just posted something this morning. So I would go, great, this is how it should look for everybody. Great, so I just posted this an hour ago, 21 people have seen it, right? There's 2 things we can do. One, you can actually go to the Facebook Ads Manager and you could try to promote this piece of content. What I would want to do though is I'm going to boost this post. So I'm going to hit boost, but I'm not just going to go to anybody. This is one of the things where we see a problem. You got to look at your audience targeting. So I'm doing a thing on how to hire remote workers, right? It might be somebody who is looking to buy properties, interested in the shore, etc. What we're going to do is, if you're going to go here, and I'm going to choose people through targeting. I'm going to create a new audience. And we could call this, let's call this LBI, right? Now, this comes back to knowing your audience, guys. You're going to go pick your age. We're going to say, let's 35 to 65. And we're just going to go through. It's very straightforward, right? We're going to say people who live in Manhattan. Boca Raton, sure. We'll go through and do all these places, right? So I can go through, I can put Columbus, I can do all of these places, just for an example. I then would look at their demographics. What are they interested in, right? Are they interested, if I go business, a business owner, so I can look at small business owner as their job title, right? I can then look at, there's all of these where we can go through, what other interests would they have? Beach. So now I'm looking at people who live in New York, Columbus, Boca Raton, in this age bracket, and are into beaches. Maybe we want to do this, right? Real estate investing. Great. So now what I'm going to do, if I go and save this, I go save. I got 1 million people that fit in North America, or in these cities, sorry, who fit and are interested in these things. Great. I then go save. I look at it here, and I'd say I'm going to spend, whatever. Let's say $10. And then I'd be off. I'd hit boost, and it would go. So, for $10, 580 people are going to see it, give or take. Now, these 580, when you can make or 220 to 580, if you can make an impression on them, they're going to hit like and share, and then you're actually going to see organic traffic. So you don't have to spend a ton, but you really got to hit on these. You can also go through, people who like your page, etc. I can go through and create. For this, I'd probably would target people who like remote work, right? In remote workers, etc. But you go boost, and this would see something that we'd be able to take, this 21 and see that really boost and go forward. But as you go through, you can see different media types and really using that. I'm going to get back to the presentation. Next, how do you measure success? This is something I think a lot of us don't do. We need to set realistic goals for the accounts we have. We need to track how we're doing. So Facebook has what's called insights, which I'm going to put this in the chat right now. So if you go to Facebook, you'll see Facebook insights. We also have Twitter analytics and Instagram analytics. You can go through and see how you're doing and how people are responding to your content. So if you see a certain type of post that you're putting out, maybe it's photos, maybe when you make a little video blurb talking about the 5 reasons you love living in your area, your county, you're going to see that take off. Then you need to create more content like that. You also need to make sure that you commit to posting over the long term. So don't look at social. It's not a sprint, guys. It's a marathon. We got to look at this that, it's going to take a while to build a social media presence. So it's not an overnight thing. I know it can become disheartening if you see yourself, you're posting for 2-3 months and you don't see any results. Don't worry about it. You just keep going, keep going, keep going. So with that, I want to look at some realistic goals. Can you guys type into the questions for me? What do you think a realistic goal would be? Or what are the goals you've thought about for social media? Is it, you want to increase followers by X amount, or you want to have more engagements? What is something that you've seen? And just one example. Okay, I see. Get 1,000 followers as a request. Yeah, sure, 1,000 followers. But I'm going to argue something different. I'm going to argue this. We get so caught up in the top metric, and we need 1,000 followers. We need 2,000 followers. I'm going to say this. For next year, if you can make one goal, to have 24 more connections. What I mean by that is create connections with 2 people online every single month. Real connections. Go through engage with them, start an online relationship, so to speak, where you're going back, you're liking, you're commenting on their photos, their content, and look for them, because what they're going to do, if you have 24 people at the end of the year where you're their go-to realtor, your business is going to do better, because people act on personal recommendation. 1,000 followers is great. 24 people recommending you and out there being your referral base is better. That's where we need to refrain and reframe our mind. I'm going to show you guys right now how to find some people and how to do this conversation. So one of the things we see, and we'll go into Twitter. I'll show you guys just two ways we can find people online. People, businesses, etc. So here I'm on Twitter. I'm going to go through and I'm going to look hashtag LBI, and I'm going to see who is talking about this hashtag. And I'm going to go through and look. So it's going to be a lot of people. You know, I might look at the sandpaper. I go through, I look, I go here. If I can go and find people, you know, as you move to the Jersey Shore, I can go and look for people that are talking about moving to LBI. And you got to get a little creative, right? Like, these are, so when you're typing in a search, you're typing in stuff that people might have actually went and searched for, and be part of their tweets. So if I just go here, and even as a simple one, the sandpaper, right? We all know this. What I would go through and look at is say, great, I'm going to connect with some people, but I'm going to look at this. Who follows the sandpaper? Probably all people who are in the community, right? Or other businesses. So now what I'd go through is I would look at how can I connect with these people? How can I connect with them? Maybe they have, if I can start some, you know, online, build rapport with them, whatever it may be. Let's say it's Melissa Roberts. Right? And if you know who this is, maybe you know about the Southern field hockey team. You know, you can go through. So I see that she's very interested in field hockey. If you are as well, this might be a person for you to connect with, right? Talk about how, congrats, oh my God, you know, the girls did such a great job this year, etc. She's going to then click and be like, who is this person? Why, you know, why is this realtor talking normally and not trying to just sell me a house? That's going to be huge for you. The other thing you can do, this is one thing that people don't do enough of. And if you do this for 15 minutes a week, you're going to see your page grow. So what we want to do is find a piece of content here that has a lot of engagement, right? Something coming in here. And then what you can do is if you hit this little liking and commenting. So right now I can become the Zach Shore, you know, corporate page. And now what happens, all these people who commented, right? Real people, and they're like, wait a second, this is a business that's talking like a person. And now this little thing right here showing that we're connected to the community can incite clicks back to us and help our brand grow. It's no different for you as the individual realtor going through and using your brand. So all you got to do is, if I go here, returns oysters to local bay waters, right? I then use my business page. All you do is click on this little arrow, find your business page, and I can go, obviously in this context, I'm just congratulating. But what I would look at is I would look at for you guys, okay, what are types of post pages that people would follow that, your potential buyers would follow? And maybe there's a thing where it's, hey, these are the, 7 best things about living here, or 7 things you need to know. Then you can come in and actually type out the 8th one. Type a long paragraph where you type out the 8th thing. And what you're going to see is you're actually going to be able to start dialogue that way. This is something that I've done over and over again, where if I see, and I'll have these posts, I'll go and see who people are following. This is great stuff for us to be liking, commenting in, right? This is awesome community content. So this is us making social media social. We're not just waiting for people to come to our page. We're going out and commenting on theirs. Same thing, I just go to the Long Beach Island page. What's happening on this page? And where can we comment? Where can we comment on the Visit Beach Haven? Get all of these pages, follow them, right? Follow them. See where you can jump in and pick your opportunities to come in, and all you got to do is hit that little button, become your page, and start talking with people. That's it. Be a human being on this platform. You know the experts. I mean, you know the county, you know the city better than anybody. That's your advantage. It's your advantage over people who just go to Zillow. Zillow doesn't have the people on the ground, the understanding of the community, what it's actually like, to walk down to the shore. One of the things that I saw an agent do in Miami that I would highly recommend doing on the shore. If you have a property that is steps to the shore, like create a video. Say, it's steps to the beach. I'm actually going to show you, and record a video of yourself walking down. Or it's steps to this local market, to school. Physically show it in video. Put that on social media. Go through, comment with other people, and we're going to see that your presence will actually grow. One of the things, and I know this is a lot to look at, but if we can just take away with 2018, we want to be on Facebook. In any platform we look at, we really want to make sure that we're being conversational on. There are certain articles that I'm going to send out with this as well. So there's a really in-depth article by this guy, Neil Patel, who was like a White House consultant for social media and everything. And he breaks down, a very long-winded post, but on, best times to post, how to create a social media calendar, etc. Before we hop into questions, though, to finish this off, I do want to show you guys 2 programs that I'd recommend you look at to help you with posting consistency. One is called Buffer, and it's bufferapp.com, and the other is called Hootsuite. A lot of these are free for 1 to 5 accounts. So what Buffer will do is it will actually let you schedule content in. So I can go through and I can create some content for a Facebook page, and I can go through, schedule it, so I can make sure that I have content, that my page will be alive. I'd recommend scheduling 2 to 3 pieces throughout the week. I think there's a common piece of advice that's just wrong, that you need to post every day. You don't. If you post 2 to 3 times a week consistently, you're okay there. And then actually look at the organic real-time opportunities for you to hop on and create content around the scheduled content. So with that, guys, I do want to open it up for questions that you may have, and really these can be as specific to your business as you want, generalized questions, anything you want to see. We will be doing, this is the first webinar, we're going to be doing monthly webinars where we get into the nitty-gritty of how to build a Twitter following, how to do social media ads on Facebook, best practices for live video, etc. But I really want to spend some time on this introductory webinar and talk through any of the questions that you may have. Also, if you are watching the recording, please feel free to tweet those questions at me, and I'll answer them pretty promptly. And don't worry about disturbing me on that. I'm happy to answer any social media questions you guys have. Okay, so we got a question on Should I have a personal and a business Facebook account, and should I put different content on both? Okay, so this one actually comes up quite a bit. Yeah, you should separate your personal and business account for a couple of reasons. One is your business, well, personal accounts cap out with the amount of followers you can have. You can't really track or see how you're doing with personal accounts. Also, your cousin from across the country doesn't need to see all real estate content all the time. That's how you're going to get blocked out. So what I would recommend doing is actually creating a business account for yourself, then posting all of your brand related content. And guys, don't mistake it. You are a brand. As a realtor, your face, your name, your brand, how you make people feel when you shake their hand, you want to remake that experience online. You're personable. That's why you got into this business. Like, we want to make sure that we can keep that going. You separate the two. You get analytics with your business account. The business account, as your page grows, allows for more flexibility. And also, if you do have some personal events, or you want to post a photo with your kids for your family to see, that doesn't get shotgunned out, to the business world. So you can keep your personal life a little bit more private. I have two. I'd recommend that everybody has two. Okay, we got another question on how often should I post photos of listings? Okay, so with listings, I think you should post about 10% of your content. I think that, not that I think you should, here's your breakdown of your content. When you look and you're posting out your content, it should be either informational, inspiring, entertaining, or product. So if we just think, does it fall into one of those four things? Something can be inspirational and informational. That's fine. Or if you're going to say, these are the 6 staging tips for home sellers, that's informational. That's great. That's great content that provides value. Or maybe here are 6 DIY kitchens to die for. Okay, that's inspirational. That's great. Or these are 17 times, everyone loved living in LBI. That's entertainment. That's awesome, right? You're putting good feelings into people as they see your content. It's the same way that, if you were to go to, I don't know, let's say the Ritz-Carlton, right? And you went up to the front and the lady at the front desk was really, really nice to you. And let's just say her name was Susan. Susan was really nice to you. You don't walk away from that experience going, oh, Susan was really nice. You walk away saying the Ritz-Carlton is really nice. We want the same thing to happen. When you're out there and you're doing things and your business is putting out content, we want people not to say, hey, that piece of content is really nice. We want to say, no, this page, this realtor is really informative. They're really nice. And if we can think, like, there's so many examples, guys. It's like a comedian. If you tell one funny joke, that's a funny joke. If you tell 5 funny jokes, you're a funny person. So if you can give one useful article, it's a useful article. Or one useful little tidbit about LBI, that's one useful tidbit. If you get 5 or 6 of those out, and do this over a long period, now you're the hub of information. So really, really think about that when we're crafting content. Okay, we have one on how to set up, how to actually set up live video on Facebook. Okay, this one, what we're going to do is actually on your phone. And if you open up your phone there, if you go to the Facebook, there's two apps you should have. You should have your Facebook app, and then you should have what's called a Facebook page app. So I'm going to type that into chat for everybody. And when you go to your Facebook page, it'll say, would you like to go live? And you can go live from there. You can talk about your listing. You can talk about your day, what you're doing. Maybe you're going to meetings, etc. Couple things about live video. They are live, so I would recommend having them loosely scripted. I'd make sure your significant other is, not going to pop out in a towel, or that, you guys probably all saw the hilarious, BBC, where the reporter was live and his daughter came into the back. It was adorable, but you got to make sure that when you're going to go live, people are watching and there's not as much forgiveness as when you film a video. So just make sure that it's loosely scripted. You know what you're going to talk about. It's okay to have lulls. It's okay for it to be shaky a little bit on the camera. Don't worry about that. People are okay with it. But have it loosely scripted. Go into that Facebook page app or go into your Instagram. You can go live from there. I foresee LinkedIn will be rolling out. They have LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft also owns Skype. So you're going to see within the next year, I'd say in 2018, you're going to see live video on LinkedIn as well. If you're at a cool conference or something, hop on live for those events. That'll be awesome, and you can go from there. Okay, guys, that looks like it's it for questions. I just want to thank you guys a ton for actually spending time with me today and going over this content. I hope it provided some value to you. We will be sending out this as a recording, so if you missed anything or you thought I went over something too quickly, don't worry. We will go. You can go back to it anytime in the recording. And for the next pieces of content, as we go through to do more webinars next year, I really look forward to getting to know a bunch of you guys. If you have specific questions you want answered in the webinar, please, 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 you can reach out to myself either via Twitter here. Gina will be able to help as well. If you just send an email, if there's some piece of content you want to see, or you can drop a question in here that you want to see, and I will work it into the future webinars because I want to make sure that you guys are equipped to up that GCI next year and have a great year of sales, and also really build a great brand in behind what you're doing. So I hope this helped you out. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys on future webinars.